Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of FTB's Kop Talk. Only the best place to be on a Thursday night at 10 o'clock. You know it's right here. So we're going to say good evening, Mr. Stoney Browder. How are we doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you very much, and good RT.
No problem, no problem. Good evening, Mr. R&B Tabrice. How are we doing?
Good evening.
Good evening. And we've got the honest con with us as well. How are we doing, sir?
Good evening, sir. Manners and respect.
Okay, and we got a pitch invader, lads, today. Mr. Owangi Juma, our very own of FTV Sports Man United Agenda, has decided to join us today. He's a brave man, isn't he? Give him a round of applause. He's a brave man, that's what I'm saying.
It's about 3 weeks too late. I would have preferred to come on after the friendly.
He wanted to come and give us a bit of stick about a pre-season win. When you're just trying to get fit. It's all right. Can
I just say it's a pleasure to be on this channel. I've watched you guys when I can every week, and you're doing a great job. And obviously, the vibes is really good as well because of the success that you've been having. So, long may it continue. The channel, not the success.
Thank you. At least you're honest on that.
Okay, he started. We're going to say good evening to a few on our lives there. So do remember, press that share button, that like, and also subscribe so you never have to miss out. So Mr. 007, good evening. Joe Evans says good evening. He says big shout out to my man Tabrice, top guy. How much did you pay him, Tabrice?
Actually, I just want to say as well, I'm live on TikTok as well. So actually, Joe's one of my followers from TikTok. So I'm actually doing a live feed. So we could have some questions coming on both. So
right,
shout out to
we'll
Joe.
talk contract details later when we finish. All right, no problem. Good evening, Mr. B. How you doing? I saw you the other day, Mr. B, in Greenford, mate. You know what I mean? Got them one-arm driving swagger going on, mate. I saw you. Don't worry, bro. Oh, Joe says 50 quid. Oh, cheapskate. All right, don't worry. We'll do some negotiations later. Anyway, we are going to talk about it's back. It's long awaited. I know everyone's been itching. It's back. The Premier League is back tomorrow. Can't wait. So, first game for Liverpool up on Saturday, early kickoff, 12:30. Away to Fulham, the Cottages, in the old area. So, gentlemen, tell me, what do you reckon? What do you reckon with our new players that we've got in? Let's start off with what do you think our starting lineups are going to be? How do you think that's going to run, gents? Open floor.
I think that it'd be more or less the same team what started against Man City.
Okay.
I think that would be the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously, the goalkeeper. I believe Alisson should be back from his injury. Other than the goalkeeper's change, I think that that's the side Liverpool will start with.
Wasn't going to be there.
Yeah, I got a feeling that he won't be fit enough, and even if he was fit, I don't think Klopp's going to risk him. Not against Fulham anyway.
Okay, we got a latecomer, people. Mr. Preds has decided to join us, even though he's not in the picture. Here he is.
Hello.
Decided to join us, Preds. Fresh from his holiday.
I put 50p in the meeting.
Oh, okay.
I've got a fat, mate.
Fresh from his holiday, eh?
Fresh from the holiday, mate. I've got a bit darker. I've got a bit fatter, but in Jamaica, innit?
Well done, Sam. So yeah, Tabrice, what do you think our starting lineup will be?
Very similar to what Con said. I think any change. Van Dijk played. Yeah, Van Dijk played against City. Honestly, I think it's going to be like the same team. I think with the introduction of Núñez coming off the bench, I think that's going to help him immensely. I'm actually glad that we're playing Fulham now, because again, even though Fulham are a decent team, I think they really don't know what's going to hit them, and I think we're gonna start the season with serious intent.
Oh, I like that. I like the sound of that. So, Preds, when you was out in Jamaica, did you get to see any of their friendlies then? Preds? Look like he's still got that Jamaican Wi-Fi, mate.
I don't know what's happening. It's frozen. What are you doing to me, man? You're not freezing me out.
I said, when you was out in Jamaica, did you manage to see any of those friendlies?
No, maybe not.
Okay, all right. Maybe not then. Maybe not. Oh, well, we know Mr. Omondi Juma definitely saw one of them. I know that much. So come on, give us your rundown then, Mr. Omondi. Come on, let's have it.
What about the friendly?
Yeah, let's have it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think it was. You guys could argue that you didn't play your strongest side. We definitely played like one of our strongest sides, and I think it was like an experiment for us to see the issues that we had against you last year, whether we could counter that. And I think we did. The main issue was obviously the high press that you have. You can overrun teams and sort of suffocate teams early on. And we weren't built for that last season. We couldn't manage that at all. I think what we did really well was this sort of setup with the rest defense. We were able to absorb a lot of your attacks, and which you did because in the first 15 minutes you were really flying, but we prevented you from making any clear cut chances. And eventually that allowed us to get the confidence to get back into the game. So obviously the scoreline, was a big one. I mean, for one, bonuses, we kept a clean sheet against the most attacking force in world football at the moment. And the other side, which is a positive for us. And the other side of things, we scored goals and created goals, which was really good, which we put the high press on you. For example, Fred's goal put you under enough pressure where you couldn't clear the ball with time, with so much time on the ball. Cleared it to Fred. He dinked it over the keeper for one. Another goal with Martial. He ran on and goal after pinching the ball from one of your defenders and ran on and scored. So there's a lot of positives from Man United. Obviously, we're going to get gassed after what you did us to last season. I just want to say this. I've come on the show with all respect because I acknowledge that you are our seniors. You are superior to us. And I love the way you play your football. And so just talking about the game coming up with Fulham, you got coming up this week, I think it is going to be like a shock. I think it was Stoney said could be like a wake-up call for Fulham because they've got a nice little tight little stadium. They've got enthusiasm coming up, but they have been a yo-yo team for a number of years now. But the issue would be maybe because of the high tempo you play, and Klopp has been calling out for this for a long time. This is the 5 subs that's been introduced this year. And I think it's going to have a major impact on how Liverpool perform this year. To be able to imagine this, you'll be running the way you play, the high press. Teams really struggle with that, and then suddenly at 70 minutes, you bring on half a team of fit, great players coming off the bench. And imagine you're doing well in defence and you're saying, right, I've got this. And then suddenly you're going to have to deal with someone else like Diaz or Jota, whoever comes on. It's outstanding. It's a great advantage. I think it's a disadvantage for a lot of teams that don't have big squads. And I think Liverpool have been really favourable to have this decision. So Klopp speaks a lot of, his voice has got a lot of power and influence, it seems.
But you must have to remember one thing, when Fulham were last in the Premiership, they gave us 2 very good games.
I don't remember.
We struggled.
Go ahead. Yeah. Okay.
In both our league games, I think one week.
I think they beat they beat us.
If I remember rightly,
they beat Liverpool.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there you go. So they beat us in one, and we drew in one.
Wow.
Yeah, and we didn't look good. We didn't look good in either of those games.
Okay.
We didn't look good in either of those games. To be fair.
Wow.
But to be fair, Liverpool had a makeshift defence in one of those games as well.
Yeah, I hear that.
And again, we're looking 2 years ago. And again, any team that plows a trade in the Premiership, any elite footballer, any professional footballer, I've got to give ultimate respect. But again, we're like talking about a different Liverpool team. We're like talking about a different style of football. We're like talking about a different mentality. And again, all respect to Fulham, but Liverpool are going to be going out with all guns blazing, and again, anyone that's looking to play fantasy football, definitely put Salah as your captain.
I think half the country's done that already. Mr. B says that Monday must have the wrong login details.
I'm on. Actually, I'm on. Have you got any Liverpool player in your fantasy football?
Yeah, I've got Trent at right back, and beyond that, yeah, that's it. I've just got Fred. That's the only player. Not Fred. Sorry, Fred. I've got Trent. Sorry, Trent at right back.
Just Trent. You haven't got Salah in. You haven't got Salah in there, no?
No, I didn't put Salah in. I just got a feeling. I've got a funny feeling Salah's not going to perform to those levels. It's hard, isn't it? When you look at players, you think, how can you perform year after year at that same level? Something's got to give at some point. So that was my thinking behind that.
Okay. So, Fulham, let's talk about Fulham a bit then. So, with 90 points and 106 goals last season, 43 of them came from Alexander Mitrovic. So, they ran away with the league, basically. but they struggled right at the end. I think winning just 2 of their final 7 games. And so far now, they've brought in João Paulinho from Sporting Lisbon, which is an impressive coup. Nana Solomon, Kevin Mbois, Bernard Leno, and Andres Pereira. It's not so bad acquisitions there for them. Definitely strengthening their team. And during pre-season, they've beaten Nice, Estoril, and holding Villarreal to a score draw. So that's not done too bad for them at all. But do we think there's going to be a bit too much for them this season? Or can they do a Brentford?
I think it's going to be quite interesting because a lot of Fulham's goals last season, I think their manager will retain the same 4-2-3-1 that they played last season. But bearing in mind, as much goals as Mitrovic scored last season in the Championship, and rightly so, 17 of those assists came from our Fabio Carvalho.
Yeah.
All right. And also, I think 10 of those assists actually came from Harry Wilson. So Harry Wilson's currently injured.
Yep.
Carvalho is no longer with them at the moment. So it will be interesting to see who is going to be creating the opportunities for Mitrovic to finish off. I think that's what's going to be quite interesting to see, who Marco Silva is going to be playing those 2 key positions as well.
They've also, as well as Harry Wilson, there's no Joe Bryan as well. He's got a broken hand, and Nathaniel Chalobah.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
I think we're looking at relegation. I think as in Fulham. I think they're the team that people would say that will finish in the bottom 3. I also think that Southampton and also Bournemouth. But again, if we're kind of talking about Fulham. Yeah, Mitrovic, we've seen him do that in the Championship. But how many goals has he? How many goals did he get last time in the Premiership? Not up to 50.
Yeah, so, but in fairness, I think there was probably an issue between him and Scotty Parker. Why he probably didn't play the amount of games that they actually did. Even when it was probably around Christmas time, they'd actually brought a loanee in, a young loanee in to actually play in place of Mitrovic. So as he said, I do not know the finer details there, but I reckon there was something happening behind the scenes there.
He couldn't get around the pitch.
Okay.
He couldn't get around the pitch. That was the reason. Who was it? Scotty Parker was at Fulham.
Scotty Parker.
And and they played quite a intense game with plenty of young lads with legs in and around him, and he simply couldn't keep up in the Premiership the last time. So it will be very interesting to see a year later. Is he going to is he going to be he's going to have enough legs? He's got the quality, but he's going to have enough legs.
See, but that's the difference between, like the English manager who wants the legs, and now you've got the foreign manager who's going to adapt and play to a different style.
Yeah.
So I know he's a striker. I know he can score goals. We work around that, man. You understand?
That's so true.
But the thing is, but you got to remember back in when Scotty Parker was in Fulham are in the same position as now. They're not going to be coming at teams. They're going to be sitting behind, and they're probably going to hit teams on the break. Mitrovic would not fit in that mold. Whether they do a new style and it fits his mold, we'll see. We'll soon see.
I think it's going to be interesting, and I think as much as we're obviously playing a newly promoted team as well. I think if we think back in history, that first games that we've played over the seasons against newly promoted teams, I tell you, it has not been easy. I'm thinking of Norwich. I'm thinking of Leeds. I'm thinking years gone by with Middlesbrough and stuff like that. I'm telling you, that first game against some newly promoted teams, they come at us. Of course, so I think that's what we really have to be mindful of.
I think I've always noticed this in the Premiership when teams get promoted to the Premiership. Them first 8 games. These teams go hard, man. They go at you hard in first 8 games, and then obviously it starts to tell because they haven't got the bigger squad. They can't keep doing that. They're not as fit as the other teams, and that's when it starts to tell. Then they try to adapt a different style of playing football. But when they first come up, those first few games, they go all out.
Yeah, and get their put. Because Brentford did it to us last season as well. Remember that first game? Brentford came for us. They came to give us a hiding. Yeah. So, we definitely have to be mindful of that.
Definitely have to be mindful.
I think Fred's made a great point about Scott Parker and the running, maybe running the channels, what expected from a forward, be a bit more mobile than Mitrovic. I think Mitrovic is a good player. If you look at him internationally, like I have to agree with Article though. If you look at him internationally, they play to his strengths, and he has got some very, very high strengths points, which attributes that really sort of make his game. One is that he can pin down defenders. I think you're not going to be rare that Van Dijk and whoever his partner is are going to have someone of that ilk like Mitrovic, who's a big, strong unit up there with him, which is very rare these days. It's more about movement and fluid front three kind of thing these days. So Mitrovic gives you something that is very rare in the top flight. You might get that from the lower leagues, and I think he's a very good player. He plays to his strengths, and I think he can cause a problem in a big game like that, especially on a small pitch. It's like a seven-a-side pitch, almost like Craven Cottage. It's so small. The crowd be on your back. I don't know if it's televised or not, but it's going to be a massive game for the fans. So it's going to be a packed house. It's going to be noisy, and you just never know what could happen. But I do think Mitrovic shouldn't be overlooked. I know there's been question marks about how he can't reproduce that championship goal tally in the Premiership. I agree with Artie. It's about if a manager plays to the strengths of the side and gets the best out of them and gives him more opportunity to get his goals. You never know. He could be someone smashing this season because he's got a lot of good characteristics.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, and I agree with Armandi on that as well. Because even if you think of Mitrovic at Fulham, he's like a 1 in 2 every goal. I think he's played like nearly 160 games for them, and he's on 84 goals. I mean, that for me personally, I think that's a good record.
Of course it is.
For a forward, so he will cause problems. Definitely.
Definitely. So, all right, moving away from Fulham for a bit now. I'm going to come back to Liverpool, and we're going to come back to I want to sort of run down on our new players. So, how do you think our new players are going to fare in this season? We're going to go more with talk about Núñez and Carvalho, because to be honest, I don't think Ramsey's really going to get that much game time right now, to be honest. So we're talking more Núñez and Carvalho. So Tabrice, how can you see them faring this season?
I think Núñez will probably get between 15 and 20 goals in all competitions. I think he's going to be used more as an impact player. I believe that he's he's still learning like the language, which is a barrier. But again, what he showed against Manchester City, like he can, he's a specimen. He's like big, strong, and he looks a lot quicker than I originally thought.
Yep, same here.
And I think Carvalho. I mean, it's funny because I would have liked to. I think it'd been interesting to see him play for Fulham, of course, as a loanee in the Premiership. I don't think he's going to get a lot of games personally in the league. I think it's going to be more domestic competitions and possibly the latter end of Champions League group games. If that's if we qualify. The game against it was it Red Bull? He looked a little bit flat. He looked like he was trying a little bit too much. And again, that's like a little bit of inexperience. But again, seeing like him and Harvey Elliott connect, you can see the future of Liverpool in the next 4 to 5 years. But again, I think, of course, people are going to be talking about Núñez. And again, I'm not going to say enough because the Charity Shield is just a glorified friendly. So, but the signs look promising.
Okay. So, Con, how do you think Núñez and Carvalho are going to do this season?
I'm with Tabrice there. I think Carvalho. I think that Liverpool should have really loaned him back to Fulham for another season. Really, I thought that. I don't think he's going to get much game time, and I think that him getting some, he would get more minutes at Fulham for one season than Liverpool. I think Liverpool could have done that. And Núñez, it's a hard one, isn't it? It's his confidence. I mean, if he's not doing well, what is Klopp going to do? Give him another chance? Or he's just going to put on Jota? It's sort of like, It's a tough one. It's going to be a strange season anyway with the World Cup. That's what I can say.
Okay, Stoney.
You know what? I think the absolute beauty of football is that people have different opinions. And my opinion is a complete contrast to what Tobias and Conway have actually mentioned. I am absolutely elated that we've purchased Fabio Carvalho. And I would say prior to his purchase, the last player for me personally that I was that happy that we purchased was Xabi Alonso. Okay. We've got a 19-year-old player that plays in the ilk of Coutinho. All right. If you think about our current midfielders at the moment, all right. Ox is still injured. Curtis Jones is injured. And Naby is injured, right? That means our other three midfielders that we're going to be playing with is Fabinho, Jordan Henderson, and Thiago. Obviously, Harvey Elliott will come in and James Milner. So in my opinion, I believe Fabio Carvalho is going to get lots of game time this season. I really do. I believe he's going to get lots of game time in playing in either of the number 8s, either left or the right, or either in a forward position. So I'm absolutely elated we've purchased him. I do not want him to go out on loan. He's going to be my player watch for this season. He's the player that I'm really looking forward to playing with. And I'm absolutely elated that he's actually with us. In Nunes, I think we've got a 23-year-old that will take a short period of time to adapt to the Premiership. More so as well, that adaptation is something that Liverpool are probably going to have to make slight adjustments to as well. Last season, when we played that same formation, remember when we bought Diaz, Mane moved into the middle of the park, yeah? When Mane played, Mane wasn't dropping off like Bobby. Mane was going behind the forward. So it's almost as if Klopp and our coaching staff were already looking forward to playing a different system. Now we have Nunes, who plays in behind the defenders. And that's all what we were trying to do last year with Mane. So for both acquisitions, I think it's going to be perfect. And we're also going to see an adjustment to how we play this season. I'm happy with both of them.
Okay, Prince.
I'm going to go on the back of that and say I'm backing both of them. Carvalho, there's little bits I've seen him in pre-season, looks very lively. He looks very creative, and like Stoney said, he's in the same ilk as Coutinho. And Nunes, I think the boy he's enthusiastic, he's hungry, and I think if he can get a few goals early doors in the season, I think. Again, we'll have another player in our hands.
Definitely. So, on Monday, what do you reckon about our acquisitions?
I think it's great. You mentioned two players, and I think they're kind of linked in a way to the way you're going to play. You're going to get a new dynamic with Nunes. This is a different kind of striker, someone who's willing to do the donkey work those channels, make those runs and spin off. And you've seen it already in the games that you've played already. He's running down the channels and dragging people over with him, because you have to go with him. This guy is quick, like you said. You're really surprised how quick he is. Big unit as well. And so he will occupy defenders. He will pin down defenders. I don't know why. I mean, look, we're big clubs always get this, don't they? Oh, the new Andy Carroll. Nothing like him in the soul. Even though he can pin down defenders. He's got
a ponytail.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
He's got a ponytail.
So where I think it's going to be very effective for you is that all this running movement is giving you a new dynamic now, whereas Firmino used to come deep and create little pockets of space like that. I think this guy is going to stretch defenders by making those runs. Might be offside, but you still have to go with him. And that space that opens up, the rotations will be someone like Carvalho, which Stoney's pointed out really well about that the runs that he makes. You haven't got that sort of player at the moment that will run into the spaces that this guy will create. So I can see what Klopp's doing there. I might be wrong, but this is what I see just from judging by the players. That new dynamic that you will have is going to cause mayhem, because what happens is, season after season, when you're performing so well, teams set up, they do their data analysis and everything else. How do we stop Liverpool? We've even tried that as well with what we said with the result we had in pre-season. How do we stop Liverpool? thinking we know. Now you've added a new dimension to it. It's like, oh my God, back to the drawing board, boys. Because now, how do we deal with this Nunes thing? And you're going to create a lot more chances. So it's not about goals, I don't believe. It's a front three. It's about being effective. And Carvalho, I think, will be effective for you because he's the only player, he's unique in your side that can fill those spaces and drive into those spaces that will be created by stretching the defense from a player like Nunes.
Well said on Monday. I definitely have to agree with you there. Con, I have to disagree with you there on about we should loan out Carvalho. No chance. I was itching to see this boy come, itching that we got him. We finally got it over the table, got it done. He's here, and then I've watched him in pre-season. You know what? That boy stays, mate. That boy definitely stays. He has got a lot to promise, and he will definitely get games for me. Obviously, he won't start all the games, but he'll definitely get games. He'll be coming on, and he'll make a difference for us. And when things are looking tight, and you got them, you know that sometimes Liverpool do struggle when teams sit back, and we haven't got that guy to pick that lock. He could be that guy for us, man. He could 100%. He could be that guy. I think between him and someone like Harvey Elliott as well, they could be them guys to find that little ball or that little burst of pace and beat someone. He could definitely be that player. Nunes, for me, I could see already. You can see his qualities already. He just needs to integrate into the team. And this is one thing I know with Klopp. He doesn't rush to integrate players into the team. He's taken a long time with other players. They've taken months before they've got into the team. We've got Bobby. Only thing is now what might rush him a bit is because Jota's missing for a while. So that's the only thing where he might play a bit more. But the boy's trying hard, man. He's trying hard. And you know, I read an article and what he said was that he came to a big club like Liverpool, so he's nervous because he knows the history of Liverpool, and that's what it is. But he wants to impress, man. And I've seen the boy; he's running his heart out, and he's trying, and that's one of the main things for me. Once you're trying like that, he'll come good, man. He'll definitely come good. Joe Evans is saying that he believes that Mitrovic is capable of getting 10 to 18 goals this year. He's not a mobile player, and he needs to get good service. Mitrovic is an old-fashioned forward and gets drowned out in the modern possession-based play. Very true. Joe knows his 40. 007 saying Fabio will be getting lots of game time, and also Will Elliott. Been impressed with Carvalho. I think both Nunes and Fabio will be coming on the subs a lot. Yeah, they will be coming on the subs quite a bit, to be fair. He says he positions himself well and has a forward-thinking brain. Be interested to see how he is on the ropes further back. And 007 says we're going to be killing teams. You hear that, Monday? You hear that, Monday? Yeah?
I hear 00 every week, man. He's always giving it to me.
And sorry, I've literally got a question from TikTok from Billy. And again, the question to you guys: Nuno or Jota, who would you prefer to come off the bench to be an impact striker?
Right now, for me, I would actually say Nunes because of how Jota finished last season. He wasn't on form for me last season. And currently now, he's going to be coming back from an injury. So he's going to be taking a bit of time to get fit. Nunes has had a pre-season. He's bagged some goals. He's got confidence. So I pick Nunes right now. That's my choice.
For me, it depends on the scenario. There's different stages of the game. What are you up against? What do you need? If you're playing a low block, I would play Jota because he can get the ball to feet and be a bit more creative. If you're playing a team that's playing a high line, you can play Nunes, bring him on, and he get in the space in behind, whatever. Depends on the manager. The manager's got so much intelligence, he'll be able to assess that, who'd be the most suitable player at the time.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. I think it's going to be. I think at some point during the season they're going to be playing that role anyway, aren't they? Both of them at some point. Jota's in, like Lee said, Jota's going to be unfortunately injured, and that's a shame for him as well because I think he's come on leaps and bounds and he's improved massively when he's come in. And Nunes. I think he's going to be a live wire, regardless of whether he's starting or whether he's going to be on the bench. So either one, I'd like to. I love the choices that we have now going forward.
Stoney.
Yeah, I can only mirror image what Monday and Preds have actually said as well. I think we're in an opportunity, or we currently got these two additional players that we're currently blessed with. Jota, we already know what he's capable of doing because we've seen that. Nunes is going to be a new dimension as well. So for Nunes, it's probably the unknown, regardless of what he's done for his previous club. It's going to be about the unknown. So he's probably going to surprise us as much as he's going to be surprising the opposition. So yeah, I can't call it, unfortunately, to your TikTok person with the question. We're just blessed to have both.
Okay, Con.
I think everyone else is. I agree with what everyone else has said on it. Really, on that matter, on both of them.
Monday, I'm going to put this one to you because Joe Evans has put it differently to how you put it. When he says depends on who you're playing against, but in general, Jota as Nunes as an impact player, he's a starter who will slowly get into games. He's saying Jota with a high line, whereas you said Nunes with a high line. And he's saying a Nunes for a solid back line of an opponent. So he's looking at it totally different.
So, Rizzo, I think Nunes for a high line. There's not many teams would be brave enough to play high line against you because they would probably be in the back foot. But if you are playing against high line, the reason I say it's just Nunes, it's because he's got the pace and a willing running to get work the space and get him behind. That's what he's likely to do, and that would stretch the team and force them back. So if you're playing a high-profile big game against a team like City who are pushing you back, you bring on a guy like Nunes, he's going to force the defender. Even if the defender thinks he might be offside, he's still going to have to go with him, and that stretches defense back. So that will automatically get you the defense sitting back, and then you're getting more position in the opposition half. I think they're very different players, but both effective in their own little way. So I think when you got someone like Jota, what I like to see, I'm not a Liverpool fan, so you guys are more qualified than me to discuss these players, obviously. But from what I've seen, I think Jota, you get the ball around the box, he plays sharp little 1-2s. His dribble, his tight control in the box, that kind of thing. Against a low block, when you're overrunning teams and you're getting doubling up on teams or players. So, like for example, I've noticed you play Robertson down the left, Jota will go over, and there'll be 3 players on 2 just to double up on players. You know what I'm saying? Get that extra advantage of a player in there. Jota can do that, little 1-2s in the box, tight control, and create something from that. And also sneak up with a header or something like that. But I think he would be a nuisance. He'd be a player on a low block who would just be a nuisance and stretch teams and where they have to bring a player back and get them a bit out of shape a little bit if you're sitting back like that. Nunes, he's in a low block. He might just be a good target man with his height, whatever. But in those little... I'm talking about subtle movements. I think Jota's got better subtle movements than a Nunes who hit the channel and the underside go in a high line.
I hear that.
When someone like Tabriz would be like, as a defender, he knows I don't have to go with this guy.
That reminds me when he was doing 100 meters at school. Back in school days, mate.
You don't do that donkey work, and Nunes will make defenders work this year.
Okay, so Joe is saying that people outside the top 6 will not play a high line against Liverpool. Not a chance. Nunes against top 6, Jota against all the others.
I have to go the other way around.
It's interesting that.
No, that's interesting.
You know what though? The interesting question is though, who's going to be the number 9? Because both of them can play number 9. Both of them can play out as an inside forward. So you know. What position is going to be best suited for what particular player? I think Jota in the next couple of years will be a deadly number 9 striker. I think he's building up to that. And Nunes again will be he's adaptable in coming from the right in and then coming inside. I've not seen him so much down the middle though.
But and that's a good point, Prez, because you know what? You see for Benfica, he actually played more on the left-hand side where Diaz played, and he can play centrally, and it's the same thing for Uruguay. So you imagine now we have got an addition in Nunes who can play 2 of those positions, and Jota who can both play 2 of those. We may even see at some stage of the season that both of them are playing at the same time.
Yeah.
That within itself, once again, is just showing how we're continue to actually evolve as a club with players as well. So that can only work to our advantage.
Yeah, and like now it's a fact now that we are now as Liverpool fans by one of the panelists. We are now talking about the system that Liverpool are going to play. So now we are unpredictable again. Like now, teams can't just kind of guess exactly how we're going to play. And like this is again an exciting conversation now because now we are anticipating. Oh, I wonder
this is what Joe just said. He said Liverpool are blessed now. We have a number of systems. It's very true.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask the question, gents. Moving away from systems and all that now. All right. Before I do that, let me just mention Joe's comment with me quickly before. Joe says I'd have Nunes as the 9 and swap Diaz for Jota sometimes. It's embarrassing the players you have. It's nice to actually hear that. We've been waiting quite a spell to do that.
Thank you.
So it's open, gents. Open to anybody. Are we going to miss Mane?
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Like he's a guaranteed 25 goals in all that competitions. Probably 15 plus in the Prem. Double assists. 100%. Yes, like again, we can talk about Nunes, we can talk about our Liverpool team, but we've lost a big player. Like we don't know how we're going to adapt in those tight games at this present moment in time. If we kind of look at it, as almost as neutrals, Liverpool are weaker than they were last season because we've lost Mane, and again, we don't know how Nunes is going to perform. If we're really being honest right now, Liverpool on paper are going to be, will probably come across weaker until we see what the new signings are all about. So yeah, 100% we're going to miss Mane. Facts.
Stone.
Yeah. I completely agree. We're definitely going to miss as well. And the other side of it as well, I think the competitive nature between Mane and Salah continued to make sure both of them were constantly raising their game. Because I do believe there would have been some stages privately where Mane probably felt Salah as being a threat and vice versa. Even though they played in different positions, we know that they've got their own personal targets that they still want to actually achieve as well. So I think for that, we will definitely miss Mane. As I said, absolutely amazing player. Bought him for 28 mil, sold him for even more, got lots of silverware and wonderful experiences for the duration of time that he was with us. And yeah, he's moved on with our blessing. But will we miss him? Yes, we will.
Okay. On Monday, from an outsider's point of view, do you think Liverpool will miss Mane even with our new acquisitions?
100%. I did think that you might have a dip this season, but I've been inspired now by the conversations you guys are having about the new dynamics that you do have. It sort of balanced it out for me. So I've come onto the show thinking, oh God, Mane's gone, you're going to suffer. But from the insight I'm getting from you guys on the panel, I'm starting to think, there's going to be a balance here of the new players that you have and the new dynamics that you have to hurt teams. And I do think Mane is a fantastic player, a great servant to the club. And he just gives you something. No, every one of your front lines is unique in their own respect. They bring something different to the game. And Mane, you can't replicate that. We're looking for a player at Man United in Frankie de Jong, and it's a very rare attributes that he has. There's not many players in world football that can do exactly what he does, what's required to make us a better team. Likewise with Mane, there's obviously there's loads of right-footed guys who play inside forward, but Mane is a different breed altogether. He's wiry, he's strong, he's got good mentals as well, and he's driven, he's a team player, he works back defensively. I mean, all these things are such good quality. And I think it's great he's getting valued as he is, because he's built his stature at Liverpool. And for a team like Bayern Munich to embrace him, I think it's great for African football as well, to see African players with just leadership qualities. He should have probably been qualified for the Ballon d'Or this year for getting to the African nations, for getting to finals at Liverpool, getting to the Champions League final, get close to it. He's an outstanding player. So you got to salute him.
Doesn't get the recognition, man.
Yes, although obviously as Liverpool fans you do, but as a neutral, I just admire the guy. I think he's an outstanding player. You can't replace him, but you've done, like I said, you've balanced it out with what you've brought in, and you can see the evidence will be over the next coming weeks. Mane will just be a memory, a distant memory, quite possibly.
So, Con, what do you reckon? We're going to miss him? Preds?
I think initially, short term, yes, we will miss him because he's a huge element of our team and our structure and the way we played. I can only echo what everyone else has said regarding Mane. I think the biggest thing for me with Mane is he was just humble. He was just humble, and he was hard. Like everyone says, he's hardworking, creative, but the guy was so humble, and that humble I think that kind of endears him to a lot of people around the world. And I've got to be honest, I'm still in mourning, guys. I'm watching him. I'm watching him like bounce around. I'm watching him walk up and down Munich, and he's got this big grin on his face, and
because he's got a paycheck, bro. So
I know. I'm missing the guy. I miss the guy, man. I'm going to miss him, and I think, if anything, Munich have done an unbelievable piece of beer business.
Yeah,
unbelievable at the but like I said, like you lot have said, someone has already said that he's gone. We've got to move on. We can only live with the memories that he's created for us. And all the best to the kid. But I'm still
would you miss your right leg to that question? I think so. I think I might notice it's gone, mate. But he's saying that, but it was the right time, and happiness off the pitch is as important as on. Arts Man United, they have done the right thing. Woo! Shots are fired. Shots are fired. 007 saying, I hope you don't miss him. I also think Diaz was his replacement as the club knew 12 months beforehand he wanted to leave. So no, I won't miss him. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
007 says he won't miss him. My thoughts on that are that, whether Diaz is his replacement or not, it's a quality replacement. Diaz will not score near as many goals as Mane, but I believe he might create more. The starter player that he is. I believe he may create more chances, but he won't score as many goals as Mane. That's the one thing I think we'll miss. And he's a hard-working player. He's Diaz as well. I won't knock that. He wants to graft for the team, but I still believe that we'll miss Mane all round. And I think it will take us a little bit of time to get over that and for things to flow. But yeah, I definitely think we'll miss him, 100%. Big shout out to Mr. Solo. Another one to see their Man United agenda can't stay away. Hey, we've had Mr. P in the comments. Solo. Monday's invaded. You know what I mean?
Mondo, have my shirt, mate. Come on.
Good evening, Mr.
Wait till the
20th. Look, he's getting a bit bright now. He's Mr. Solo. Look, on Monday, tell him about themselves. Wait. Good evening, Edward. Nice to have you on board. He said, let's go. You'll never walk alone. That's right, son. You'll never walk alone. And he's saying that he believes that Nunez will shine.
Yeah.
Okay. Gentlemen, predictions for this weekend then. Predictions for Fulham, Liverpool. And on Monday, who's Man United's first game against?
Do you care? Or is this just...
No, seriously, on a level. I'm asking on a level.
I think it's Pride weekend, and we're going to Brighton, Brighton are coming to us. So we're going to get our pride and restore our pride after they get us 4-0. So we're playing Brighton.
3 points. That's 3 points to Man United for me, I reckon.
Thank you.
I think Brighton's going to do you, mate.
Nah, 3 points. 3 points. So Joe Evans is saying 2-1 to Liverpool. I'll start with Stoney.
I wonder if the one is because Adrian's in goal, and not Alisson. But you know one thing. I'm going to give my prediction. All right, I'm definitely giving my prediction. One thing that we're not thinking about as well, with Alisson unlikely to be obviously Alisson's not going to be available, so we're going to have Adrian in goal. Gallagher's injured as well. I wonder whether that means we're going to be calling on one of our academy goalies to obviously be on a subs bench.
Oh yeah, because Gallagher's injured as well. That's right.
Yeah, Gallagher's injured as well. So we just hope that Adrian's going to be fine. We may end up having a surprising goal for us against Fulham. Okay, so my prediction is going to be 3-0 for Liverpool, first game of the season. I believe we are going to keep a clean sheet. 3-0 Liverpool.
Okay. So Brees.
I think it'd be 4-2 Liverpool.
Woo!
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
you can see 2 goals, yeah?
Yeah. I think I think Becker again, hopefully, fingers crossed. And again, I think that's something that we haven't really spoken about. Becker does start off the play, and again, he's like calmness. His like passing ability, his shot stopping. Is so important. It's kind of always out of Becker and Edison in terms of the Golden Glove. And Adrian, he's a decent number 2, but
I
think if anything, Adrian's a number 3.
Yeah, Kelleher's second, number 2.
So I mean, and we will, Fulham will create chances, but again, I think with the firepower that Liverpool have right now, I'm saying 4-2.
Okay. And Prince.
The first game of any season is silly season, isn't it? So it's gonna, I'm actually agreeing with Fabrice in regards to it might be a score of 4-2, 5-2. I think we'll win it comfortably, but I do believe that Fulham will get a couple of maybe get a goal, only purely because Adrian. But you realise that we always have a little bit of a struggle up when we go to Craven Cottage.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
mention it before. Yeah,
we always have a little struggle up. So
I'm going 3-1 Liverpool, and I'm only giving them that one because they're at home. That's why. So I'm going to.
But not Adrian, no.
On Monday, what do you reckon our score is going to be?
I think you just about might get the victory. The reason I think the factors are they're playing at home. They had a long time now to prepare for this game. I mean, since the fixtures came out, I mean, imagine that as a player of a Fulham sort of standard, and you're coming up against Liverpool first game of the season. So every training ground session, all their homework would have been preparing for this. The guys, tossing and turning at night, thinking about Salah and Diaz and all these teams coming at them. They would have done their homework for sure. I think they're going to resist you. They concede early, could get blown away. I think they're going to go out there, the crowd in the back, they're going to resist you for a long time, and you might have to use this 5-sub rule and break them down, finding late goals. So I reckon it's going to be 2-0 late in the game. You might score 2 late goals.
And what's about your score on Monday?
Brighton are a good possession team. I think but I think what the main thing is we don't concede against them. I don't think they've got a good, as you guys all know, they don't score many goals. They haven't got that top striker. So I think our difference now is that we've got more control in games. You can see that we've done midfield possession. We're actually stringing passes together. So if we can neutralise their possession side of football, I think we can have the majority of the game. And I think we can win maybe 2-3-1, possibly. I'm still a bit shaky at the back, but I just do think we've got more ball retention. That's going to help us against teams like Brighton and other teams in the league.
Okay, so Mr. Solo is saying 3-1 to United. 007 is saying Liverpool 5-0, United to draw. Mr. Brown is saying 4-0, Nunes double, Salah pen, and a Trent free kick. And Mr. Brown, if any more comments,
no,
yeah, it's not even a 2 or 3 week ban. You'll be banned for life if I hear that name mentioned on there again. I'm not even going to read that out.
Go on, Lee.
Joe Evans is saying I think it will be a tough game, but Liverpool narrowly win. United, Joe saying United to win 3-0. Okay.
I fancy Brighton to go and nick it a little bit,
I do as well. You say Brighton have got a new striker as well, a new German striker called Undaf, isn't it? Haven't they?
Yeah, he's looking all right as well.
He's meant to be all right, yeah.
Yeah, but don't forget they've lost Basuma, and he was the heart of that midfield.
Yeah, that's a big loss. Big loss.
Yeah. And Cucurella's not training with them at the moment.
Yeah. He might be.
That's a big loss.
His way out as well. That's another big loss. Definitely.
True.
007 is saying, Solo's saying that Fulham's coming to strike 1-1 and United to get that 3-1. He needs to stop. He needs to leave that sauce alone, mate. Anyway, right. Before we go, gentlemen, I want your roundups. What do you reckon your seasons? How you think your season's going to end up? So, on Monday, you lot have struggled to get players in. Who's the one player that you've got in so far?
We've had a couple. We've had Freebie Ericsson. He's come in. I think.
Ericsson. That's right.
We've had left back Malatilia from Feyenoord. He looked really good. And we've also, help me out here, guys. Just someone else.
Martinez.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you very much. Yeah, Martinez. He's a cultured 5'9". So Stoney, he's a bit taller than you actually. 5 foot. 5 foot.
Listen, you have to remember something. Cannavaro was a small centre back, and he did all right in life. So
it's true. There's been many short centre backs, but yeah, he's very cultured on the ball. I'm qualified, but I think the most. Tabrice is more qualified to talk about how good defenders are, centre backs, and does height really matter to Tabrice?
No, it's all about positioning and like reading the game. I think nowadays, especially when it kind of comes to free kicks and corners, midfielders and strikers are like 5'11", 6 foot. But as a defender, it's all about anticipation, and you can probably look at most goals, and a centre back, is probably a couple of yards off because they've just ball watched. So,
very, very true. Very, very.
True. So like a height of a centre back doesn't really matter.
One of the best headers of the game that I've ever played with was 5'7".
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think I remember seeing him lose a header.
Yeah. I mean, again,
if you look, it's not about height; it's about timing.
Yeah, it's about timing. I mean, if you look at Cahill, like he was about 5'8" or something. Tim Cahill. He won every header, brilliant. So
brilliant.
Yeah, he was brilliant. So yeah, no, you'll be fine. He's a decent player, really good.
So how do you think you're going to fare this season then on Monday?
Look, I forget about players and lack of transfers. The most important transfer we had was the manager. I think the manager coming in with a new philosophy and identity of football, I think that's the most important thing. That's going to help us a lot. You have to consider as well, we came third twice and we came second with this roughly the same sort of players, So, and that was with some real dysfunctional management of the club. So now we've got someone who's disciplined, who's got the respect of the players as well, and drilling in a philosophy, a style of play.
Has he got the respect of all the players, though?
Apart from one who needs to go at the moment, who's obviously thinks he's more superior than a manager. It's like one of you guys trying to overrule Artie on the show. That wouldn't happen. Artie would slap you. And that's what's happening behind the scenes. With Ten Hag, he's probably slapping. He's fined him. I don't know if it's just come out this evening, but he's fined Ronaldo for his rudeness. How dare he, undermine a manager like that kind of players, Petulance, yes, there you go, thank you. You've got children, I can tell you've got children, but it's wrong, it's out of order, and he shouldn't do that. So I agree with you, Preds. They should fine him, they should kick him out of the club and get someone else in as soon as possible.
So where do you finish the season?
I think we're going to finish top 4. I think we'll be 4th. Hopefully, it's going to be a great season. We have to look at all the other sides as well. Can't overlook Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, and maybe Newcastle, whoever it is. The Premiership is peak right now, and it's going to be an exciting season on the show as well. I advise everyone press the like button, and tune into the Kop TV because it's going to be popping this season. There's going to be ups and downs, and hopefully we're going to see a lot more downs. Downs, especially on the 20th.
So, Preds, how did Liverpool finish this season?
Champions.
Okay.
Champions. I think I've got this little feeling, right, that we're going to come out and be like wounded animals from last season. I think from where we were up for 4 titles, we missed out on the Premiership, the Champions League. I do believe that we're gonna come out like beasts, and I really do hope we do come out like beasts. And I hope we start on Saturday against Fulham. I think we just got to be clinical and dispatch teams.
Mm-hmm.
Clinical, and yeah, my prediction: top champions.
Okay. Tabrice?
I think we're going to be bridesmaids again. I think we'll finish second. I think it's City that are going to win it. The midfield is getting a year older. So can they produce what they did last season? And again, hunting down the 4 trophies was was an amazing journey, and it was amazing to actually talk about. But it was to the detriment to I'd say the bigger trophies, i.e., the Champions League. Again, we were 1 point off dismantling City, and like you look at the points where we lost to Leicester, Brentford, games that we should have won. But again, I'm kind of looking at second place. United will finish fifth. I think Chelsea and Spurs will finish above them. But again, it's going to be a very competitive league. And again, this is what we want. We don't want just a 2-horse race. We kind of want to have, United fans coming on. We want Chelsea fans to come on. Literally, we kind of want to discuss that the star players in a kind of particular week and whatnot. It's and again, with Arsenal strengthening and as well, this is literally what we want in the in the Premier League.
So Stoney.
I think what we've been able to appreciate and value from our club is that every single year we've upped that ante. Last year, I think at the beginning, all I wanted us to do was be in a conversation, and we were in a conversation for the league, for the Champions League, and both cups. I just want us to be in a conversation for every single game and cup competition that we're actually in for this season as well. So for the league, I'm confident that we're going to win it, and I want us to be in a conversation for the other 3 cups that we're in. That's how I feel at the moment.
Okay. All right. It's going to be a tough one. I still believe the league winners are going to come between us and Man City. I believe it's going to be a lot tighter with all teams this season, because I believe the way that Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham and Man United have gone about now, there'll be a lot more points taken off the top 6 now. It won't be that stroll no more. It's not going to be that easy. So I believe the gap's going to be a lot closer this time round. And it's going to be, I think, the league will be one with less points as well. A lot less points this time round. But it's definitely going to be a tight one. But I definitely see us and Man City fighting for the title. I believe that Tottenham's going to do well this season. They've made some good buys, but what it is as well, they've also got a very good manager, and that goes a long way. That goes a very long way. So yeah, I believe that Tottenham will be up there as well this season. So Joey's saying that Lamptey, a great little player, future top 6 man. Yeah, I think we've said that quite a little while back as well. Ten Hag's been getting them comfortable in possession, unlike last year. They will control the game differently to last year. And a few of their players have looked like they've got a little new lease of life. Rashford looks like he might be back. Martial looks like he might be back. All pluses for them. Liverpool and Man City again, with Chelsea closer in third. I'm going with Liverpool to win the league by 3 points. Strength matters more than height, in my opinion. Luckily, BVD has it all. Cannavaro never played in England for a reason. United will end up 8th. Ooh. Yeah,
but just let me just jump in on 007. As much as Cannavaro didn't play in England, he played for Real Madrid and he played for Italy, and he still won silverware.
Exactly, and he won the World Cup as well.
Right, yeah,
he won the World Cup
and the Ballon d'Or,
and the Ballon d'Or. So,
how tall was Franco Baresi?
5 foot, 8, 9.
Yeah,
the same. Yeah, there you go. Great shout.
Yeah.
Reading the game. You've got to read the game.
On Monday,
and look at Lothar Matthäus as well. Lothar Matthäus, he dropped back into defense. Eventually, it's sweeper.
Joe agrees with you. He says, "I'm spot on, mate. The best signing is the manager. Like his approach so far on and off the pitch."
Yes.
Stoney out jumps man of 6 foot.
Yes, standard, man. Standard.
That's because he's your brother, bro. Don't try that. I need to come and see that, man. And who's bringing that man over? Joe thinks that you'll finish 5th. Mr. B thinks that United finished 6th. Oh, okay. So 14 away from 200 subscribers. Please give us a subscribe. That's right. Press that like button. Do share it as well. Okay. So what I think, 100. What Joe's saying the same thing as well. He thinks less points to win it this year. I definitely think so as well, especially with a World Cup year as well. That's going to take its toll on the players. Definitely.
Sorry. Can I interrupt quickly? I've got 2 questions. The first question was, which club has had the best transfer window thus far? And the second question, where do you see Liverpool in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you think they can carry on competing with Manchester City?
Brilliant. Okay, so am I able to go first on that?
Of course you
so I
can.
don't forget. Signings for this summer, I would say Arsenal and Spurs, in my opinion. I think they've had really, really, really good transfer windows. I think they've strengthened in the correct areas, and I believe it's going to allow them to have a really positive impact on their club's performances this season. So for me, Spurs and Arsenal. In terms of where Liverpool will be in the next 5 or 10 years, I think it will depend on Klopp, our owners, and direction that our club's moving in, which is in an upward trajectory. Bearing in mind as well, whether it's comparing against Man City, we don't know what's going to happen in Man City in a few years' time as well. We don't know how long we don't know how long Pep's going to be there, and whether the vision once Pep leaves is going to be the same vision that Man City actually has. So I think that's going to be quite interesting. Where I believe that we're going to be in the next 5 or 10 years, it's still being in a position where we're pushing to challenge to actually win the Premier League.
Okay. Prince.
Yeah, I agree with Stoney about Arsenal and Spurs, but then you've got to remember Chelsea. Chelsea that transfer window, transfer market, and they bought the big lad from Napoli, Sterling. They're still looking to. They're still looking. There was a lad from Brighton as well, the right back.
Cucurella.
Cucurella. Yeah. So they're they are looking to do some really serious business. Where do I see Liverpool in 5 to 10 years? Again, I agree with Stoney. It depends on Klopp's here for what, another 4 years? Yeah. So it's about whether Klopp, he sets it in stone and we keep that philosophy going. Because if a new manager comes in, they've got their own philosophy. So it just depends on if Klopp can stay as long as he can. Please, Klopp, stay as long as you can. Please, I want Klopp to do a Fergie and just stay. And that's where I stand. If Klopp stays for the next 5-10 years, we'll be fine.
Okay. So Monday, who do you think's had the best bit of business?
I like Nottingham Forest. I like them as a club. Obviously, they're European champions as well. It's great that they've come up. I want to see a big club stay in the Premiership now this time. So many great clubs in the Championship and even the First Division that just fallen off, So welcome back to Nottingham Forest. They've made about 9, 10, I don't know, there's numerous signings, and some of them are really good. So I think they'd be real suited. I know you think the more signings you have, it's going to be hard to adapt to get the players to integrate, but I think they've done really well with their signings. They've got a good goalkeeper, our guy on loan, I think Henderson. They've got Lingard, and they've gone around Europe and got a few championship players.
That was a surprise to me, Lingard going there. It was a big surprise. Everyone thought
1 year contract.
Yeah. 1 year.
I think 200 grand a week. It sort of sold it for him because obviously he doesn't have to sign on fee or transfer fee, so they can afford to probably pay him like that. And I think the way they've done their business, there's a lot of players there that I think they're really, really neat players that are sort of off the radar, And I think the manager's really good as well. He was the one who won the under 17s World Cup with the Foden and your guy Brewster. In India that year, in 2017 he won it. Whenever it was in India, he won the 2000 under 17 World Cup. He was manager, so I think being able to incorporate young players, play a nice brand of football, bring in, and the players he's brought in, giving license now, and that the money is using the Championship. You don't have much money to work with. Now he's been given a flood of money, and I think he's done really well with the signings he brought in. I think I'll be watching them anyway. I think they do well with their transfers. As for Liverpool in a long, I don't think it's going to be a dynasty. I think it's going to be like El Dorado. It's going to be that one series.
Where did you take that one from? I'm not sure where to there,
This is your private episode.
He's been working on that one. He's been working on that one.
Jokes aside, I think it's like Stoney was saying, I think it's down to Klopp. What's really important about Liverpool, whether it will be a dynasty, sorry, whether it will be a dynasty or not, and like Pedge said, it's about building your foundation on rock rather than sand. The important thing here is I want to see more youth players coming through. I want to see a youth academy blow up, get to FA Youth Cup finals. Our name is chiseled on trophy, but that's the foundation, I think, of a club. If you can leave the club in good condition like that and have a youth system that just keeps creating players, it's a good region, Merseyside. There's a lot of players coming through there. So if you can start to do that, and he can leave on a good note, and knowing that the club is in good hands for the next 10, 15 years. And like I say, it's a beautiful club anyway. You do your business really well. You don't spend too much, and you still maintain. So even if he does leave, he might drop off a little bit, but I still think he will. By that point, he will have the club in good condition, especially the youth. That's essential for me. You build from there. You start bringing youth players coming through. A lot of them have dropped off, but you can see he's brought in Elliott. He's brought in the Carvalho this year. So you can see he's leaving his mark. And then so he can walk away and have these players developing and say, that's my boy.
Okay. Fabrice.
No, actually, Artie, I'd love to hear like your answer first.
Yeah, no, I believe that Spurs as well. And Arsenal have done well. And yeah, actually, I totally forgot about Lingard getting to Nottingham Forest and that, and then getting that Henderson as a goalkeeper. That's not a bad deal. So yeah, I think they definitely have had they've done the best bit of business. I believe Klopp is doing like the one we just said, bringing in the younger players so that when his time does come, they should be at their peak and ready to move on. But it all depends on who you hand that baton over to. That's what it will depend on. And that's a very important point you make about having a good academy. Very important thing. Not only about, just bringing young players through, it's bringing young players through who know the club inside out as well. Have a passion for the club, have passion for the city, everything like that. So that counts a lot as well. So yeah, definitely. I think it's a massive point. Fabrice.
I would say Spurs, Basuma, Perisic. They've also got. I think did
they get Jed Spence as well?
Yeah, Spence as well. Right wing back as well, quality player. I think they like signed that permanent Swedish winger that gave Liverpool problems from Juventus.
Kulusevich, isn't it? Something like that?
Yeah.
Hey, he's a good player, man.
He's a really good player.
I said that from last season. We was talking about him. I said I like that. Good front three.
Yeah, Richarlison as well. I mean, again,
mess. That's mess.
Yeah, no. Well, listen. You know what?
It's mess.
I think people forget Conte made Victor Moses the best right wing back in Europe, but then he came to Liverpool and he was dog. So he made
him the best right wing back, but where? Playing where? Not in the Premier.
Chelsea. No, but like for like Chelsea. So, and I think we've all kind of spoken about our like managers, and then I think it's the first time I've realized in our generation where the best signing is now our manager. It's not even players now. It's like if we have the right manager in, like let's keep this person until for like decades now, because that particular person will literally make the club better and it will make the players better. So yeah, I just kind of hope that Klopp stays for a few years, and I'd love to win a few more Premiership titles, and I want this success to be the norm.
Okay, so talking about going back to Cannavaro, 007 saying, stop telling your grandmother how to suck eggs, guys. I know what he won. This is the English Premier League. Name me a good centre-back his height. I'll wait. Liverpool are more of a sustainable club, whereas if the rich owners of City take a hit financially in the current state of affairs, it could all fall over. Joe, please. Pompey are the best club in the land. Oh my. Blue Army, yeah? Who's really stuff? Mr. B.
Oh God, that's crazy.
It is to be back, gents. I'll tell you. Okay. So, gentlemen, we are back and in full swing. Can't wait. It kicks off tomorrow. Arsenal and Crystal Palace kicks off the Friday night football. And then after that joke game, we can get into real business on Saturday afternoon and watch some real football. Get me? Okay. Joe says, come on, guys.
Come on, Pompey!
Yeah.
Up to Pompey!
All right, gentlemen, I must say it's been a blast. And can we please, all my Kop fans here, can we please give a big round of applause for Mr. Omonde Juma for joining us today? I must say. He's one of the good man. He's one of the good mancs, I must say. Very well. Listen, Omonde, it has been a blast. It's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Omonde, can I just say, it's all pleasantries now, but come Saturday, rude boy.
And give me an extra large Liverpool shirt so I can kiss the badge. Because I'm bluffing, yeah.
If I didn't know you was coming on from earlier, I would have got you your shirt round, man. I'd have dropped your shirt round for you.
Tell Vanessa, sorry, that we had a bet that whoever wins the game, if Man United beat you, then you have to kiss the badge and say I'm sorry on video. And if we lose to Liverpool, then I'm going to get myself a Liverpool shirt and kiss the badge and apologise as well. That's what it is. Because I just want to say to people out here, this is a trap. I've been trapped today. I got called out. Errol gave me a voice note, said they're talking about you in the group. And I said, what? And it said the Liverpool group. I said, what? Let me hear what they said. And they were running my car. So I went in there, and it got even worse because Conway, who's not here to show his face, put some stupid face thing on me with spot the spit dog. And when you
call you Maxi Priest.
Yeah, Maxi Priest, all around him. You know? So I've been getting licks, and it was a trap, it was a setup. So anyone out there, don't believe the hype, don't get drawn in. These guys are terrorists.
He did. He should have just stayed away from the group. He just made it worse by coming in. I'll tell you, I'd be in stitches at work, mate.
Excellent.
Great stuff. Stoney, my brother, as always.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Friends, welcome back, mate. Hope you brought back some. What do you call it for me? I'll be looking for my Ray and his nephew. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Check you, brother. Yeah. Don't forget.
Yeah, man.
Mr. R&B, Brees.
Manners and respect. Thank you guys for having me today.
As always, man, it's been a pleasure, gentlemen. Yeah. We remember people. There we go.
Yes.
I'll be round. We remember we will be doing some kind of reaction show after our Fulham game. So keep it locked, people. Remember, if you subscribe, you won't miss out. Yeah. It's all about Kop Talk. Thank you very much, people. Good night and God bless.